What's up, YouTube? This is Essential Therapy Wellness. How is everybody doing today? So, I wanted to come and just talk about a topic or a question, or maybe even some thoughts that was floating around in my little head. And I'm going to get my notebook out because as I was having a conversation, um, as I was going throughout my day, let me start there. I walked in Barnes and Noble already feeling inspiration and some questions based off of conversations, based off of my own personal thoughts. And I wanted to go ahead and just kind of like put it down out there. So, those of you that don't know me, I am Tamika. This is a brand new channel. So, if you haven't seen the introduction, please go back and see the very first video that of me introducing myself and what this channel is supposed to be about. But I don't want to belabor that because you can always go back and see that. And like I was saying, I just wanted to kind of come up here and just talk about some thoughts that I was having today, and then talking through these thoughts with my sister, my best friend, Stacy, which you'll probably see her in some other segments and episodes. And the title of this is what makes you thrive? What is it that makes you thrive? And a couple things came to mind. So I know, first of all, let me put out the information that's going to be spoken about, said, is first of all, set the tone within each of us that this is not to compare you to another person, what another person has done, what another person has accomplished, who they are, who they be. This is more about our inner selves than it is about comparison to another person. And I have to set the precedence for this because some of these questions are they're thought provoking. And if we're not careful, we will parallel that to someone that we know, have been around, what they've done, what they've accomplished, what we've seen them do, what we've heard of them doing. We tend to do that as human beings, but I want to make sure that this conversation stays centered in your interpersonal space. So, some of the things I kind of wrote down, as we continue to evolve, first of all, our goals will evolve. And that's totally allowed, totally fine. And that's okay. The question comes about is, are we thriving and are we content in the space that we are in? This is a loving this is a loving nudge. I don't even want to call it a challenge because when people feel challenged, they feel defensive, and that's not what this message is meant to be about. It's meant to probe us, ourselves, our inner selves, to our core, to our heart. Are we where we want to be? Are we content in where we are? And if we find ourselves not being able to say that we are, have we had a process? Have we had a plan in which to get there? Okay. So it's just a couple of things that I wrote down. My friend, I wish she was up here as we were talking, but we're just going to talk about some of these things. And I just want each and every one of us, as we continue to go throughout the rest of 2023. And again, I'm only saying the year because this is what the world at large kind of measures. Our goal setting sometimes are measured off of time and time frames. So don't get wrapped around 2023 going into 2024 as much as we're getting wrapped around what's being asked, what we need to ask ourselves, and what plan and process that we need to put in place. Now, I know for a lot of us, we have a lot of considerations. We have a lot of things that we have to consider. We have to consider families. We have to consider jobs. We have to consider resources. I'm all into that. Okay. However, none of those things or some of those things in balance should still put us in a point of where we're arriving to a level of contentment. Some of those things, as we talked about, contentment versus sacrifice. A lot of us are sacrificing a lot, or we have some things to consider, therefore, putting us in a contentment state. So, me and my lovely, lovely sister was talking, and one pivotal thing she said, shout out to Stacy Porter, Dr. Stacy Porter. She said, contentment is, in her words, when you find your peace in the process. I was like, that is ding, 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 good. That's where you find contentment. When you find peace in your process. Case in point, I'm a retired military veteran, and about 6 months from retirement, I was just so ready and eager to retire. I could see my life after retirement. By this point in time, the whole last year prior leading up to retirement, I had went to massage therapy school, something I've always wanted to do. My business partner and I in North Carolina, we started our massage business. It was on a small scale, but we did it. I did it after work hours. I did it on the weekends. And this was my trajectory of what I could see for myself after retirement. However, my perspective and my attitude became what could be toxic to myself, because I was so ready. When I tell you that everything that could bug the hell out of me bugged me, everything about a process that was, within my organization that I felt should be better or be more streamlined, everything got under my skin. Everything. And it got to the point where I was so eager and looking forward to retirement, even though I had at this time 3 to 6 months to go. It was starting to get to me. And one day I had to sit back and say, Tamika, you're going to have to figure out something. You're going to have to figure out how to be content with this time remaining, or you're going to have a very miserable last 6 months. And out of all the time I was in the military, 20 and a half years, don't let these last 6 months be the very thing that plague you and rob you of your peace in the process, that you are moving towards your end goal. You just have to get through this point. And if I be honest with myself, there was still a lot of time to do a lot of things to prepare for retirement. So I had to change my what perspective, my mentality, okay, so that I can have contentment. And so, like Dr. Porter had, in our private conversation, contentment is having peace in the process, in her words, and I liked using that. So I'm going to credit her for that. So inviting peace in your process. Then I said, are we compromising slash being content, or are we comfortable? Again, keep the question at an interpersonal level, not in comparison to anyone else, at an interpersonal level. Are we being comfortable? And I think on every level, no matter where we are, we have to ask ourselves, if we have put goals and plans into place that we have not yet accomplished, outside of resources, outside of everything, is the part that of us being comfortable is because we don't believe in ourselves, so we're willing to stay in a situation where we just ain't gonna move nowhere. And it's not about the movement as much as it is about the productivity of a thing. Okay, it's not about moving fast, it's not about slowing down, it's not even about stopping. It's about in yourself, do you feel like you're being productive in even in your waiting season? You can still be productive in your waiting season. Y'all listen to me. I don't want anything to be misconstrued. Again, this is a loving prompt, that if we are not in the position that we ourselves and our God, whoever you decide to believe in and serve, are we positioning and aligning ourselves? And for everybody, it's going to be something different. For every single person, it's going to be something different. You, at this point in time, take inventory of where you are in your process. This is a loving prompt, that if I'm not where I want to be, what am I waiting for? What am I waiting on? And this is not even about an external work. This is more about an internal work that comes out of you. Okay. A lot of us feel like, if I just had this, that, and the third, that I would be happy. Maybe and maybe not. And maybe not. Um, It's just a question. It's just a loving prompt as we continue to matriculate through this life. A lot, a lot of us have just settled for for the mediocrity. Let me just say it. A lot of us have just settled. And I guess my heart and my desire is, I know that each and every one of us are meant to do something great and grand. However, your spirit has led you and showed you a snapshot of what that is for you. Again, it's not about money. It's not about status. It's not about any of that. It's how you feel at your core. Are you content at your core? And I feel like when you're not content at your core, then it's our personal homework to figure out what it is I need to do to get to that internal peace. Now, if you have your internal peace and there is nothing to challenge or question about your inner self and where you want to be versus where you are right now, then this message ain't for you. But these are for people because I know I'm seeing this because I myself have to sit and be like, am I where I want to be within my core? Right? And so if I have these questions at points in time, and there is nothing wrong, don't get me wrong, I don't want to alarm anybody. There's nothing wrong. It's just that we are made to be the whole of ourselves. We are made to maximize and optimize ourselves in this life. Okay? Because we can't have heaven on earth. We're made to optimize ourselves in this life. Will there be challenges? Absolutely. As sure as the nose on my face, there is meant to be some type of challenge. But let's not stop at those challenges. Let's let that push us into our purpose because we are meant to be triumphant. We are meant to be overcomers. And so that being said, if we're comfortable building a cardboard box around our situation instead of moving into a place of purpose, then that's where we have the question. That's where the internal question comes that you don't have to answer to nobody, not even me. But I feel like this is a burning to put out there because someone is wondering, am I really content? Or am I just being comfortable in my current situation because I don't want to put forth the effort? I don't want to put forth the effort of healing. I don't want to put forth the effort of doing whatever it is. All of us are our greatest critic, but I want to change that to say, let us be our own motivator. Let the internal piece of us, the internal being, your higher self, God, whoever it is, whatever it is, let that be the measuring stick because that's what God has put into us. Each and every one of us, divine has put something special. Are we missing it? Are we falling short? Like this is where we all have to ask ourselves this rhetorical question. Then I lovingly challenge you to get to the place where you know you want to be. Will it take time to get there? Absolutely. Do we have to heal through some stuff? Absolutely. Do we have to move some stuff and shift some stuff? Absolutely. Do we even have to compromise? Absolutely. We do. But let's just make sure that we are living on top of the world and within ourselves. Again, this ain't got nothing to do with what we see on TV. It ain't got something to do with our mother, brother, sister, or daddy has done. It's got all something to do with internally. What are we motivating ourselves with? Or are we sitting at home behind closed doors? And some of us are majorly depressed because we're not where we want to be. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. There's all types of resources out here in this day and age. It's the internet. Anything you want to do. I had got to the point, y'all, where I would pick projects with myself. And a lot of people that know me, they know that I'm always involved in something. And it's not for no greater gratification than for my own. It's not to get a pat on the back. It's not to say you did good. It's not to say how much I can do, how little I can do. It is a challenge for my inner self. Sometimes I share it with people, and sometimes I shouldn't. However, I do know that God has put me in a position to be an example. And so if someone can glean or get inspiration from whatever I'm doing for myself to gratify myself, and I say gratify not in an egotistical way, but something I'm prompted and charged to do because maybe in myself, I'm like, I probably, shouldn't touch that. But I have got enough faith to know that if I can do it, then somebody else might be blessed from it. Because I'm a servant at heart. I really, really am. I'm a servant at heart. And so let this short video just be a question to yourself, a rhetorical question. Maybe we need to journal, okay? And quick plug for my husband. If you go to Kindlewood Studios, you'll find some journal books. If you are caring to purchase one, I'll put the link down in the description. Um, But maybe we need to journal and write it out. What is it that we want what is it that we're seeing ourselves at optimally? And are we slacking on trying to get there? Or are we just gonna just let it be what it is? And I just challenge you, my king, my queen, my brother, my sister, don't let it just be what it is. Everything in its timing. You seek your higher self, your God, divine. Seek what it is that you're supposed to be doing in this season. If your season is to sit still, then you sit still. If your season is to do research, then you do research. If your season is to move your feet, then brother, sister, boy, you move your feet. I'm just here to lovingly nudge you. All right. This is Essential Therapy Wellness. I love you so much. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.